A very good afternoon. As snooker showdowns go, this is top of the range. John Higgins, 4 times world champion against the player of last season, Mark Allen. One of the great modern rivalries this has become, with a place in the Welsh Open semi-finals at stake over the best of 9 frames. And it's Allen to get us underway. And this is their 4th meeting this season alone. Allen has won a couple of them, including at the Masters, and on his way to that very dominant performance he produced over the week at the Champion of Champions, which he won, of course, with something to spare. But John Higgins was able to get the better of Allen in their most recent meeting just a couple of weeks ago at the German Masters. And as has been mentioned, he seems to be playing extremely well right now, so a fascinating match in the offing. And for Higgins this weekend, Neil, the challenge is to end that 3-year ranking title drought.
Indeed, and I doubt anything else but lifting up that wonderful slate trophy at the end will suffice, because he's been into the latter stages of so many events. Until he gets another one, I don't think he'll be back, or we'll be saying that he's back to his best. He's just a very difficult player to beat, of course. But, there is a strong argument the winner of the event might come from this match. The world champions in the bottom half, and other players are in it too, but this match-up is two of the most likely winners locking horns.
The winner will face either Gary Wilson or Anthony McGill. They feature in our quarter-final this evening on table 2 from 7 o'clock UK time. And you'll be able to watch that quarter-final on Discovery Plus. The match to follow this one, Dominic Dale. What a week he's having. His first ranking quarter-final since the Turkish Masters a couple of years ago against Elliot Slesser, who, as Jimmy mentioned, has got a couple of big wins over Ronnie O'Sullivan on his CV. And on table 1 this evening from 7, it's Luca Brissell, a rejuvenated Luca Brissell against Martin O'Donnell. Packed house, but that's been the case from ball 1 on day 1 here at Venue Cymru. This tournament has always been so well supported. It has a rich history. The 3rd longest running ranking event after the World and UK Championships, dates back to 1992. This is the 33rd edition, and of course John Higgins has won more than anyone else with 5 titles.
Already a safety battle between this pair. There should be, I would think, quite a bit of that. Certainly the chances won't be frequent, I think, for either player. John has put Mark in a spot of trouble here, looking to just come thin off of the red by the pink, I would think. Maybe the one below it. No, there's that one. But the level of safety at the highest level now is, it's right up there with as good as we've seen. Everyone can play very specific and strategic safety shots now, because you know that one mistake can be very costly. The other thing is, it is a way of creating chances other than potting long balls. It's an early tester for him. Pot was good, but as you can see, people become buried. So now it'll be interesting to see which colour he plays. Oh, he could play the blue here and put Mark Allen in trouble. If he hits the blue, Allen's in a spot of bother, so I think that's what he'll play. I think the nomination will be blue. Let's see.
It was pretty serene progress for Higgins in the early rounds. Mohammed Ibrahim beaten 4-0, Tian Pengfei 4-1, Ryan Day 4-1. But last night was a different story. He had to come from 3-1 behind to win a decider against Matt Selt, who had a chance in that deciding frame. He didn't land nicely on the final yellow, missed it, and in the end Higgins won on the blue. So close shave, but he came through.
Playing off 3 cushions to hit the blue. He did nominate that one. He's going the other way.
Foul, a miss.
I'm surprised he played that.
John Higgins won, Mark Allen 5.
Quite honestly. And I don't suppose Mark Allen can have it put back, really, because John might get the shot and snooker him this time.
Back.
It's a risk, I think this is. I think this is a definite risk.
Just bring it off with the yellow, please.
Because he might end up in a snooker of his own. In the end, John will hit the blue and then Mark won't have a shot.
Colin Humphreys, our referee for this one. The overall head-to-head is edged by Mark Allen, 12 victories to 10.
Yeah. Thank you.
And they've played on all the biggest stages: World Championship, UK Championship, Masters.
Okay, yeah. Mark, thank you. Blue again.
It's a strange shot this is, I think.
Slightly more in.
Because he's trying to hit the blue, but it appears that other balls are in the way off one cushion, to me.
Blue. Blue ball.
Must have a route planned. Let's see. I don't understand why he's playing the blue from that way.
Foul, a miss. Mark Allen 5.
Looks like he sort of just mouthed there to Colin Humphreys that he tends to play, so no miss accepted.
Aside from that act of escapology against Chow Yupeng, it's been very much plain sailing for Mark Allen as he misses the long red, quite thick, to give Higgins a chance. He's only dropped 1 frame in his last 3 matches, including a very straightforward victory over a completely out of sorts Robbie Williams, owner of the top break of 146 last night.
A good shot that from Higgins. It was not a natural to come round. He had to go lower on the cue ball to make the ball swing wider. And as you got now the shot, the red above the black, pot it and move the one to the right of the black.
7. 8.
It's a measure of the ambition
15.
that John Higgins still has, and indeed the passion that he still has for this sport, that even at this stage of his career, having won 31 ranking titles, 4 world championships, nothing left to prove, that he's still looking for something new, an extra edge to his game in the form of
60.
Trying to get some help for the first time in his illustrious career on the mental side of things, which he told Michael Holt he's quite enjoying. He's at the start of the process, but he's looking forward to seeing how it plays out. trying to rid himself of those negative thoughts, as he put it, that have dogged him a little in the last couple of seasons, when he's come so close so often to winning more titles, but hasn't quite been able to cross the line. Of course, he was engaged in 5 finals a couple of seasons ago and ended up on the losing side each time. In 3 of those, he was in front within a frame of victory. And he's had some near misses again this season at the sharp end of tournaments, but he's kept plugging away, and, well, perhaps this will be the weekend when he cracks the code again. He's going to have to play well to make it happen.
Well, didn't quite get on this next colour as he would have hoped. This is not part of the plan, using the long stuff. So for that reason, things have escalated slightly, and he's marginally out of position again. I'm sure he can put it right, but clearly this is not where he needed the cue ball.
26.
I think 3 or 4 shots ago, I would have been surprised to see him here. Mark Allen patiently waiting. Looks like he can just put it and run around the back of the black and take the black into the same pocket.
Seven.
Yeah, it was just a natural in the end. But he's a little straight on the black now, so just got to make an effort to get on the red to follow this black. I was wondering if he'd come around and look at those 2 reds. Don't know if they are a plant to the right middle.
$34.
It must be tight. I mean, the red by the pink, there must be just enough of the red available, but it's a close call. Pink's not quite in the way, it seems.
$35.
Been flicking the pink. Now all of a sudden things have got awkward again, and he's never been in complete control in this whole break. Pretty good. Again, he went down the right cushion. Originally would not have been on his radar.
Yeah.
But it's all he's left with. And I think if he plays this gently, he'll get every chance the pocket will accept the ball. It's only when you hit these with a bit of pace attached, then they can stay out.
Very nicely done. Those are never easy, particularly with extensions on cue and rest, and Higgins could not have struck that any more sweetly.
Yeah, it looks at the scores, but it's quite a long way to go. It's been a very hard fought break. Feels like he's made about 80 here. But his lead is only 40 points, so not anywhere near the winning line. Well, he's come the perfect angle here to have a choice of any of those three balls up the table. Brown or yellow would bring him into the chance to flick the reds into play.
Brown ball.
Came out and thought it was a plant. Interesting.
54.
Yeah, it's the right hand pair of reds from that camera view we saw beyond the pocket.
Mark Allen, sitting in his chair, might be reflecting now on his decision not to get John Higgins to play again after he'd missed the blue a couple of times. He chose instead to take on the long red, missed it by a margin, and this is the result.
Yeah, I agree with you. At the time, if John had played the three cushion escape and missed, and I got a feeling that Mark Allen would have had to play it. But the way he was coming in from seemingly with the brown in the way, maybe there was an argument to let him have another couple of cracks at it, getting out of it. It was self-inflicted snooker in the first place. Anyway, this has now become a very effective break because there's been a lot of difficult shots in it and a lot of positional recoveries.
62.
But you still need red high value colour and preferably another red after that.
John Higgins, 62.
Certainly not the most awkward ball of the break, but on this occasion Higgins doesn't negotiate the red, so a chance for Allen to get back into it. Still plenty of points there. It was a very good break from John Higgins, but 53 the margin, still 67 available.
One. Eight. Nine.
Very slight angle here. Good shot that. He's done well. It cuts back because he was worried about pushing it too far.
16.
It's a very neat shot. Didn't want to hit the other red first in particular. But the deficit, 37 points, suggests he's going to have to do well with this visit to win the frame. He will heading down towards the yellow and blue here if he's not careful. Which is not really what he wanted,
17.
but he couldn't do anything to change that angle. He had to play the shot he did. Now, the next shot, there's quite a lot resting on. If he takes the brown to middle, that is, queuing awkwardly.
$17. Mark Allen.
I think he's a little unlucky there. It was a good cannon. Then on the red, he had no real way of stopping the cue ball heading towards an area on the table he didn't want, and that pressurised the shot on the brown.
And this is frame ball for Higgins.
What?
So the red that he missed just now into the opposite corner, not proving significant. Barring Snookers anyway. This black should make sure.
$8.
3 of them now required by Allen.
John Higgins. 8.
Yeah, with one red left, he has to carry on for the hope of a snooker and a free ball and all of the things basically we always speak about. But we don't often see put into practice.
You'll have heard Mark Allen talk this week about the state of his game at the moment, and he's been quite disparaging, actually, saying he feels he's, in his words, a million miles away from playing his best. But of course, what he has been able to cultivate in the last couple of seasons when he's had a lot of success is win ugly, win when he's not playing well. He's become very adept at that. Changed tactics, played the percentages more often. That's a typical John Higgins safety shot. To keep the pressure on, even though it's this man who needs the snookers. And although he's not been at his best this season, he's still been able to win 2 tournaments. The shootout, which was significant because it got him into the World Grand Prix, and the Champion of Champions, where he was outstanding. I think a world of pain is coming again very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most cast iron snooker you could ever see that he's about to be put in, already 44 behind. So probably a hit and hope here, and hit it, hope to get a snooker back. Can't really do anything else. Frame is virtually over. Well, you'll settle for that.
Well, that certainly put paid to a very satisfactory opening frame for John Higgins. Things were going a little wrong early on when he was trying to hit the blue without success, but he was afforded a way back in after Allen missed the long red, and he carved out a fine break of 62. Not quite a frame-winning one, but he's added the finishing touches since. And so it's the record 5 times Welsh Open champion John Higgins off the mark first. He leads 1-0. John Higgins appearing in his 139th ranking quarter-final. Has the first frame against Mark Allen. A break of 62 doing most of the damage. 5 is the target for a place in the semi-finals tomorrow.
Well, John eyeing up this long red into the yellow pocket, which against the nap of the cloth, never really easy shots to play. I think if you're going to miss that, you'd probably better to miss it on the thick side than the way that he did. Didn't cost him. Very nice, because he obviously could have played the snooker on the brown, but he didn't want to do that. He felt that it was a real opportunity. And I think there are signs this week with John. I mean, again, I keep saying it, but he will be judged on whether he wins this event or not, because that's the standards he's always set. But just more of a slightly positive approach to his game, the shots he's taking on, a bit more than maybe at other times in the last couple of years. He's always been a consummate match player, and he intends to play the right shots, but has he overrun? He certainly has. Looking for quite a small gap there to get onto the red to the left of the black ball, but as you can see, he's not on anything very easily. The top red goes. There's a right-hander who could lean across and knock it in, but it's difficult and miles away from what he hoped for. They've got all the gadgets now, haven't they, players? Screwing something onto something else before it even goes on the cue.
Reminds me of Day of the Jackal.
Interesting, yeah. Interesting comparison. Good shot, that. This shot on the black, I have to say, this has been something of John's nemesis, this shot, a little bit in the last couple of years. This high black from that side into the left corner. Against this very opponent, he missed one of these in Belfast when John was about to lift the title. Not this time. Terrific. Better shot than it looked.
15. $22. $23.
Yeah, he's just looking at a few things here. I mean, it appears the only red he can play on is the one up the table. He'll have to look to see if it will go into the yellow pocket just then.
Just give me a second, please, John.
Colin Humphrey's got to put the pink on the table, and sometimes people say, well, why does it go in there? Why does it go down underneath the pack? And the answer is because he has to put it somewhere, and all the other spots are occupied. Unless you just don't put it on the table at all, that's where it has to go.
I think the jury's still out as to exactly where the fabled golden ball is going to go on the table for the upcoming Saudi Arabia Invitational.
Yeah, I'll leave that to someone else, because it seems a bit of conjecture as to what he's going to be doing. I'm sure there'll be a moment when that'll all be announced. He's playing onto the blue to get into the bunch. Next 2 shots. Looks in good concentration, John. I'll say that for him. And I never really doubted that side of his game, but just needs a bit of luck here. Hopefully not to knock a red into the pocket. Very nice. That's a lovely split, because he's pushed out 4 reds and he kept control of the cue ball there. It's not moved greatly from the centre of the table.
35.
Terrific shot. Might well be a frame winner. And aside from the red that he missed at the back end of that break of 62, he's looked very sharp, Higgins, so far.
Just occasionally in the last couple of seasons, and certainly don't want to make it happen here. I'm not looking to do that, but he has inexplicably missed something at this kind of point, and throwing away a lot of the good work that he's done to get here. Get the feeling he'll go on here from this position, however. But like frame 1,
44.
It's been a hard-earned break, but there is plenty more that's required.
$51.
Of course, he had the ideal preparation as Mark Allen tries to remain in his little mental bubble there. In the Championship League last week, Higgins, when he was in prolific scoring form, made the 13th maximum of his career to become the oldest player to make one in professional competition. And 17 centuries in all in 6 days. So he was well and truly in the groove when he arrived here in Llandudno, but of course there's a world of difference between the Championship League and producing the goods on the match table here at a big event like this against one of the top players. So far he is.
$59. $60.
Well, not the worst split. And interestingly, hit the pink there to get into the bunch rather than the reds at each side of it. Either side of it now. Another red. He can retreat up the table and take in this as it's frame ball. Cleverly played, I think. Yes, he'd like to keep the break alive, but whatever happens, once that red has gone in, he's in a very strong position to go 2-0 up. It's good stuff from John Higgins, this, isn't it? It's been a hard break. And like I said earlier, he looks very focused
70.
At the table.
71.
Well, the omens and the signs. Higgins looking pretty good in these early stages. Frame is one, barring snookers. If he were to miss now, I can't imagine that Mark would want to carry on with the quest for 17 points he has to make up in penalties. But it won't matter now.
The frame already won, but that was still excellent
77.
cueing from Higgins, and the chance now to further embellish his century tally. He's already made 46 this season. He's just 13 shy of the magical 1,000 for his career.
$83. $84. $89.
Mark Allen has had a couple of half chances, not much more than that.
90.
Well, of all those centuries that he's made this season that you spoke about, I mean, this would be up there with some of the better ones.
96.
And because of that Mark Allen miss, he's been sitting down watching this ever since. It's been a very good break, but there's been a lot of thought has to go into a number of the shots.
Clinical stuff from the 5-times champion who won his first Welsh Open 24 years ago, and his most recent in 2018, I should say, when he beat Barry Hawkins.
109.
Something about the Welsh Open that clearly agrees with John Higgins, and he's going very nicely again in his bid for an 84th ranking semi-final.
113. 118. 124.
Really top-class stuff, this from Higgins. He looks somewhere back to his absolute best.
Immaculate. A total clearance of 124 from the 4-times champion of the world, Mark Allen, with plenty to ponder. It's been all John Higgins thus far. He now leads 2-0. Mark Allen certainly won't be panicking, because a lot of his finest wins during this period of sustained success that he's enjoyed have been from losing positions, not least the UK Championship last season, when he was in a world of trouble at 6-1 down to Ding and only lost one more frame in that final. But he'll be very conscious of how well Higgins has been queuing in the last couple of frames. 62 and 131. So Allen will be keyed up to produce the goods in this one if he gets the chance.
That's the best of the lot. That was sublime queuing. We saw that there was a very slight angle on this, but he's crunched it in. And very quickly playing on the red that's just to the right of the black.
6.
That will free up the black, of course, and it could be off and running again here.
Seven. 14. 15. 15.
Very slight angle, I think. Just managed to get top side of the blue. Played with screw and left-hand reverse side.
20.
So you could take the cue ball lower onto this bottom red. Interesting, because the first two frames, you know, he was given chances, and that led to him making the breaks. This time, he's absolutely screamed along red into the left corner with brilliant cueing and seemingly gaining confidence all the time. Well, he would miss that, wouldn't he? Now I've said that. Goodness me. Sorry, John.
John Higgins, 21.
And you made the point earlier that it is the odd lapse like this that has been a problem for Higgins in the last couple of years or so. The body language tells you how infuriated he is to have given up that chance which he created with that wonderful long red that he knocked in. So, an unexpected lifeline for Mark Allen, and the chance to get involved in this quarter-final.
Well,
yeah, I mean, it's a big moment. And I'll put the curse on him and apologise, but he was trying to get the cue ball up high onto a red, and the angle on the black was a bit straighter than that. Easy mistake to make.
Eight. No. Sixteen. Seventeen.
Not sure what the plan was there.
24.
Very gentle little nudge, which is not really going to hurt John Higgins that much, because the break is over. Oh, of course, he can pop this red to middle. Very difficult, though. Oh, great shot. The break is not over. That's a magnificent recovery shot. Shot before was a bit of a surprising one, but that's a thing of the past now. Very aggressive.
$32.
Seen a few shots miss in the middle of pockets, especially that left middle, and generally they hold their line on these sort of shots. I think there's an example of what I'm saying. There's no sign of it dropping down from left to right with any nap. There's not really much on these tables, but it almost went up slightly. So this is an important contribution. Oh, goodness. Oh. This time it is over.
40.
And that was the shot that John missed, but it's not proven as costly as it might have done. He actually mentioned last night after his win, Mark Allen, that he was a little surprised with one or two of his own positional shots, how he wasn't quite as pinpoint as usual with those, and there was another example. Obviously tried to screw him behind that red, but not land on top of it.
Mark Allen, 40.
And had he done so, he would have been firm favourite to cut the lead to one frame. So this third frame now becomes very big. Both players have had chances. Higgins with the surprising error on the black, but not really punished in the way perhaps he should have been.
I don't think he played it like that. I'm sure that was not quite how he intended to get back down the table. He looked very anxious in running. Hit it a bit thicker than he intended. So now John, after he's missed the black off the spot, which might have just dented his confidence, but this is a long pot, which these sort of shots he's been knocking in this week. It's just a question of whether he's still thinking about the last mistake.
Has he covered that red to the centre pocket?
Well, the answer was yes and no. Because he had. It was a good swerve, that.
What?
After he locate the potting angle, hitting the red, of course, never a problem. He'd be more than happy with that. Colin Humphries has got to put it back in behind its own spot, but don't think that'll affect Mark too much on this one. He'll be moving those balls anyway after he's played the next shot.
Thank you. 7. 8.
That's cleverly done. Tried exactly that. I wonder if he'd be able to just knock the red off the pink spot now to tidy things up. Another clever shot. That's without any applause, but it was very nicely controlled. And now he set up the table
14.
for a frame-winning chance.
15.
He'd been largely shut out in the first couple of frames. He had a chance early in the second, missed a red. But it was looking likely to be 3-0. Oh, hang on. That was not clean.
No. And of course, from that side angle, you really do see that shot even better. From
20.
where we're looking now, might have been less obvious that it was in doubt, but it certainly was.
Higgins reflecting on that missed black when he was going so nicely. Made the superb century clearance in the frame before. So 40 the difference. The brown would be enough to leave Higgins requiring a snooker.
Nice shot. Didn't exactly play behind the red.
25.
But as Philip said, it was all about the brown going in. But this red seals the frame. Very good dropping shots in, isn't he?
26.
Slowly like that. Don't know whether John would even carry on. Difference is 45. Mark is going to be nailing colours down as well in a minute. That's what he's done here. No pot attempted.
Mark Allen, 26, and a frame.
And John Higgins concedes. So Mark Allen has half the deficit. Higgins with some cause for regret that he couldn't make it 3-0, missing the black out of the blue. And Mark Allen closes to 2-1. A vital intervention from Mark Allen. There was some danger he was going to fall 3-0 behind, and then John Higgins is in complete control and feeling great. But Higgins perhaps with cause now to dwell a little on that black that he missed, with Allen managing to come back into the frame and halve the deficit with this, the final frame before the interval, which of course we now have because it's the best of 9 as opposed to the best of 7 throughout the week to date, for a place in the semi-finals and a meeting with either Gary Wilson or Anthony McGill. They're in action on table 2 this evening from 7 o'clock UK time. Very nice from Mark Allen, beautifully floated in.
A really great shot, isn't it? I mean, as you say, floats it in, finishes on the black. Sometimes players will knock that in and send the cue ball to the black cushion almost, because I don't think the pot's going to go in. Now he's on a couple of reds, but neither are particularly easy. Reds to either middle pocket. That one doesn't go into the end. It'll go into the middle. I think the right hand red to right middle is the most likely. But I don't think he likes anything really. Looking at all other options. Problem with this red he's taking on, he leaves the red to the left of it. If it doesn't go in.
Mark Allen, 8. One. Just check that, John.
Colin Humphries just making sure there is space for the blue on its own spot.
Yes. 6. Seven.
Well, he'd like to be able to pot that red by the blue. I think from just about where he is a place where he can see enough of the red.
Twelve. $15. 16. Yeah, I'll have to use them up.
Something on the black ball, and I think it was on its spot anyway, but Colin Humphries using his marker.
$23. 24.
Well, this would be the perfect antidote to the frustration of missing the black, and with it, the chance of a 3-0 lead if Higgins could convert this chance to something frame-winning. Take a 3-1 interval lead. He's certainly been the better player so far, but he's still to confirm that in terms of the scoreboard.
31.
Yes, that's true, and also with Mark Allen's got his own things to think about. He missed that red to middle early in this frame, having not got the best of split. So, you know, John, it's easy to focus when you're out there on your own mistakes and how they cost you, but his opponent is feeling something like that. The red to middle was not easy, but having missed it, he's watched ever since his opponent.
32.
all good except for the cue ball, as we often see it just stray onto a side cushion from that shot. I know it's Red's
39.
pot to the left corner here. Quite hard to keep the break going with an easy one. So this red, but certainly taking the cue ball up and away a little bit from the action. Just for an opponent thinking, well, maybe John's broken down, end of break. He knocks in those half chances to keep it going. It
was an excellent pot, wasn't it? Could have been a kinder kiss, though, on his baulk colour.
Bravo. Higgins, 40.
Tried a 2 in one shot and didn't really get either part of it. Brown not entirely safe. Cue ball not behind the yellow. And it would have been an interesting snooker because Mark Allen would have been in trouble with all of the target reds in the centre of the table, nowhere to hide the cue ball. Plenty of danger in this long red, and I think John, in the back of his mind, knows it. Cue ball heading out towards the middle of the table somewhat, whether he pots it or not. That's why he played at that pace. Unfortunately, the cue ball still went there because he overcut it. Now, all of a sudden, a little rueful smile, but John has really been the better player, but you get the feeling that with this chance they might still go to the interval all square. Still got to do this, of course, but it is a good chance now.
Eight.
I think it's fair to say it would be a major result for Mark Allen, who's not really fired yet. If he could emerge unscathed from this mini session at 2 each, he'd be thrilled with that. Start again on the other half. Still got to make it happen.
Yeah, I don't think he was all that delighted with the shot before that he played, Mark Allen.
No.
But he recovered it well. Not every one of his little close-up shots today have worked out as well as
16.
they normally do, but that was a nice one.
$17.
So the deficit now was just a handful
24.
of points. Single figures.
$25.
Interesting point here. He could take 3 red, blacks and the yellow.
32.
And that would be too many for John Higgins. And even if he hasn't worked that out yet, which I'm sure he has, it's not as if he can play on the blue or pink, so he just carry on and see where it takes him. But there's a chance there'll be too many in it if he takes the blacks with these reds.
$40.
To be honest, John should have done better with that shot. He'd probably be the first to say it.
41. $48.
Higgins missed the black in the 3rd frame when he was looking good for 3-0. And he tried to
49.
roll the red in to the right corner. In this frame, but it didn't work out, and it's looking for all the world as though Mark Allen
56.
is going to level this match at the break. Applause for frame ball. 26 the difference with 25 on the table.
Yeah, all because he took reds and blacks, but he didn't even try and get on the green there. A little surprised by that, but there's nothing wrong with the shot he has played.
Mark Allen, 58.
So that was a very good contribution from the chance that John Higgins left him. It's not helping his cause, already requiring a snooker, now a couple, but John won't be giving up too much because, of course, with the blue and pink as they are, if John ever got a chance to take green and brown now, he'd get a snooker comfortably on the blue. So he's still hanging on in the frame. Mark trying to split them two up. That's a clever shot. That's scuppered the opportunity that John might have had. Clever stuff.
Three. John Higgins, 3.
Maybe John can cut this in. Well, there's not much else he can do with it but try and cut it in. There's the tiniest little edge available to him.
4.
So 1-2 snooker to tie now is the equation, with the 5-point penalty if John gets it.
John Higgins, 4.
I think that John will be hopeful that where the black ended up after he cut the brown in, it's given him a fair option to get a snooker. He's not in the worst place up there. Sneak the cue ball in behind. So that's keeping his dreams of snatching the frame back alive, because really felt that he got in with a chance of winning it already, John. Previous frame, we know that he missed a bad black when he was going ever so well. So if ended up 2-2, I think the man who's playing his shot in a moment will be absolutely miles the happier.
Alan knows only too well how adept he is at John Higgins' abilities to get snooker. So he won't be taking anything for granted here.
Oh, it's a brilliant shot. Absolutely brilliant, because there's not really a conventional way of getting a snooker. He just thought one up there. And with that blue just away from the cushion, you can definitely miss this. It's not even really certain as to which way he goes, all because of this shot. Very fine snookering effort. Will he get the points? Eminently missable, this. Bang on.
Two great shots, one from Higgins to lay the snooker. Cool as you like, Mark Allen with the escape.
More trouble.
Allen would have missed the blue, remember. Higgins could then tie the frame and force a respotted black. Not quite as full on this time, but he managed to brush the blue nonetheless.
These are all good efforts. This time I wonder if he can swerve it. Yeah, it's a snooker, but a little bit of left-hand side on the ball, queuing down. For the moment, you feel that he's weathered the storm, because it would be a really difficult shot to get the snooker from here.
So this time Allen with a chance to kill this frame off by knocking the blue in. But no joy, so there's still some jeopardy here for Allen, given the position of that black, as Neil mentioned. We've already seen Higgins lay a couple of snookers behind it. One really telling one, and this frame, and indeed the match, would have a very different complexion. Well, surely this time Mark Allen will put this frame to bed and complete what will be for him a very satisfactory mini session, given he was 2-0 behind.
Yeah, John got the double kiss there on that attempt, and that was enough.
And so to the midway point of our first quarter-final here at the Welsh Open, and there's nothing to choose. John Higgins made all the running early on, including that 1-3-1 total clearance, but Mark Allen has clawed